Wigan is one of the 10 local authorities within Greater Manchester. A former mining town, the current population is over 320,000.
Wigan Council has a very different relationship with its residents than we used to have. So 5 years ago we had a massive budget cut. We were the third worst affected council in the whole of the UK by austerity. 160 million savings we needed to find, and we realised we had to radically reinvent our role with our residents and within our local communities. So that's why we created the Wigan Deal. It is quite different. It's attracted a lot of national, international attention actually. We've had people from all over the country coming to see us and from abroad as well to find out how it works. 82% of our residents support the deal and support the principles of the deal. They understand its relationship to the council tax that they pay, and they understand that it means a behaviour change from them as well as residents. So it's really working well for us. We've seen a massive increase in resident satisfaction with the council and with Wigan Borough as a place to live as a result of it, despite the fact we've got a lot less money. There are several different elements to the deal, and they include things like recycling more, they include volunteering in your local community, they include making sure you keep yourself fit and healthy, that you look after your own family and families within your local community. So it's a very holistic approach to rebuilding communities really. The deal for health and wellness came a couple of years after the overarching deal, and what we decided to do was, as we were working more closely with the clinical commissioning group, with hospital, with other providers and with our GP colleagues, we wanted to develop something which was reaching out to local residents saying, we will do this if you do this. So the deal for health and wellness, that's how it was born, and it's very much about 7-day access to primary care, looking after yourself, looking after your family, getting involved in the local community, volunteering and keeping yourself healthy and well. Wigan on the Move is a really innovative idea. It actually came from the leader of the council in a conversation with the Director of Public Health, and he was really keen to get people of all ages, backgrounds and locations within Wigan physically active. So whether it was somebody sitting in a care home suffering from dementia, or whether it's a young obese child, getting them up and out and about. So we wanted to open up this Wigan on the Move £500,000 pot to get ideas from the community. We found the best ideas often are not ours, they come from local residents who are doing brilliant things. So we opened it up and we were just absolutely blown away by the quality of the ideas we got.
The idea is simply as the title says, getting people on the move. A lot of people are inactive and it's not good for their health, whether it's physical health or mental health. And so what we want to do is encourage everybody, all ages, all people, all sizes like me, just to get them doing something. Because whatever age you start, you do improve your health. And that's really important for people of this borough. And there's a whole range of different health benefits from being active. Obviously better for your blood pressure, gets your weight down if you need that doing. It just simply gets your bones stronger, even can have less chance of cancer.
Well, I think what we can see is that over the years, the big measures of health in Wigan are improving. So smoking rates are going down, survival rates from cancer are going up, life expectancy is going up.
The percentage of adults who are physically active in the borough has gone from 50% last time it was measured to 55%, so that's a 5% increase. That brings Wigan now, in terms of physically active adults, into the England average range, which is really, really good news. So Wigan on the Move is starting to show that people have got the message that it's about getting out, getting active, being social and having a bit of fun.
Putting all this energy into lifestyles and health and Wigan on the Move is so important.
Wigan Council is now leading the way with its modern health and wellbeing function. The Start Well, Live Well and Age Well services deal with all aspects of public health across the life course. GP surgeries and schools are providing residents with universal access points to health services.
I think the Greater Manchester Health and Social Care Partnership is an organisation that can look with local authorities, with the NHS, about improving the health and well-being of the population of Manchester, Greater Manchester, even though we currently have some of the worst health in the country. And what that does is allow us to adopt over a huge area things that will improve health and well-being. Now, that doesn't mean that of the 10 authorities that each of the 10 authorities aren't doing bits in their areas that improve that. And our locality plan in Wigan is around improving the health and well-being of people in Wigan, but that contributes to the plans of the Greater Manchester Health and Social Care Partnership. So the 10 authorities' local plans all contribute to the overall strategic plan for Greater Manchester.
Wigan is a place that really does partnerships very, very well indeed. And this is because we recognise that it takes a number of different agencies to contribute to the health and well-being of our patients. So obviously here in the hospital we see people when they are quite ill, but there's many more interventions with GPs in primary care or with district nurses and health visitors. But there's other opportunities to influence health through, for example, leisure and exercise, or through housing, or through social care interventions. So that's why we try to work as a partnership together, because we're all basically aiming for the same objective.
Healthy Wigan Partnership is a new initiative with health and social care providers coming together. So that's GPs, the local hospital, the local council, adult and children's services, and also our community services health providers. Delivering
further faster by 2020 means that because of the situation the borough is in, and all the public sector in terms of finance, we have to move faster to reducing demand by improving people's health and well-being.
We're transforming primary care locally. We're doing that by wrapping services around our local GPs, not only providing GP services, but enhanced practice nurses that can deal with diabetes, obesity and a range of other things on your behalf. We're also wrapping in mental health workers and thinking about how we can work differently with the voluntary and community sector.
Healthy Roots is the flagship community-based service that improves people's health and well-being. With 2 high street hubs in Wigan and Leigh, it is also available at many convenient and local venues across the borough.
Clients come in to see the advisors if they want support to give up smoking, if they want to lose weight by improving the diet, exercising more. They also come to see us if they want advice on how to reduce their alcohol consumption.
I approached Healthy Roots for information about stop smoking. So I joined up with them, and I got medication, and I tried that, and it was successful. It says the trainer that looked after me, she was wonderful. And now, after 60 years smoking, I've stopped now, and it's nearly a year, and I've never had a cigarette.
The staff are superb in my book, and they're always there to help. They're always very kind and giving the advice they think you need, and also they give you the backup. We come here at least once a month. We get weighed, we have our blood pressure tested and everything else tested by the new machine they've got in here, which is quite good. But it does help. But myself personally, I have an MOT every year with my GP. I'm due to go one for next Monday. I've had bloods taken and everything else, and it usually works out well. And I think at 78 years of age, I'm doing quite well.
The main reason I came was because of the cirrhosis of my liver. But as an additional to what the improvements I've made in my health, is I'm an insulin-dependent diabetic, and the amount of insulin I now take has halved and more. I take 2 packs of insulin, one has halved, and the other is about 2/3 less than I was taking before. And the diabetic specialist was quite amazed at the reduction in insulin in such a short period of time that I've done it in, because without it actually having affected my health, that I've done it in a sensible way. So normally that sort of reduction in insulin is only seen in someone that's had a gastric band and has had a dramatic weight loss because of that. So I was very pleased that I don't take as much insulin now.
Since the shop's opened in May last year, we've had over 5,000 people come through the door, and we've had over 1,800 people come in to use the WellPoint kiosk.
Creating opportunities for young people to become health champions can also have a powerful impact on education and raising awareness of different health issues.
So we so far have worked with 90 young participants through the 12th Man project. Within that, we kind of brought 12 young participants through to the Royal Society Public Health qualification, and they're now youth health champions, so they now are delivering health messages to younger participants within the community. And they're also very, very aware and got very good knowledge of the local facilities and how they can signpost their parents and family members to kind of making them first steps to achieving a healthier lifestyle.
I'm looking forward to becoming a health champion, so I'll be able to put onto my CV and then spread awareness on alcohol and healthy eating.
Our group of young health champions at the Deanery High School recently supported their sports day, having a hydration station, and we're also able to have those low-level conversations with their peers around how they could increase their levels of fitness outside of school.
This year I completed my Youth Health Champion course, and following on from that we went visiting Mabs Cross Primary School and spoke to Year 6s about what healthy lifestyles are. And a couple of weeks ago we went and gave out fruit to Year 7 so they could try new fruits as part of the Healthy Eating Week. And currently we are here to help at Sports Day to keep people hydrated throughout the day.
As part of the Young Health Champion programme, they have to create a health and wellbeing campaign. It could be individually or as a group, and it has to be a topic that is either important to them or they see as a need or something that needs to be raised awareness of. So we've had one cohort go through and they did a campaign around toxic shock syndrome as they sadly lost their friend Gemma from it in 2013. And we want to use these campaigns because if they're important to that group of young people, they could be important to a lot of other young people. But also that is a young person-led health campaign that we can utilise across the borough and across our services. The video campaign that was created in memory of Gemma Roberts around raising awareness of sepsis, meningitis and toxic shock syndrome was recently launched at the Royal Society of Public Health Young Health Movement Conference in London.
Resilience and public health go hand in hand because the health of us as individuals or of us as communities is so important to how we deal with and cope with the shocks and the stresses of life.
Part of my remit as Director of Public Health here is being the Chief Emergency Planning Officer as well. So I need to think about, one of our elected members said I need to think and plan for the unthinkable and you know, make sure that we have the, if you like, the right resilience in place both as a community but also as an organisation, and that we work in partnership with the blue light services like the police and the fire service and the ambulance, also our partners in the NHS and our partners in the voluntary sector in terms of supporting the community.
It's really important that public health is engaged with lots and lots of different areas of work. And so we find that there are actually many groups in which resilience and public health come together. There's one for Greater Manchester, which is the Local Health Resilience Partnership, and that's chaired by the Director of Public Health in Wigan. And that looks at the sorts of public health emergencies that we might face and how all the different organisations in health will come together and deal with them. Perhaps equally important, under devolution, Greater Manchester has much more control over the budgets for health and social care. And so we're looking at how we shape and design those services for the future, and making them sustainable and resilient is very important.
The way in which we use our green space, the way in which we design our housing, the way in which we actually link people up and connect communities, that actually is really important in maintaining community resilience.
It's so important at an individual level, at the level of the person, to also be resilient, so that when you face difficulties and challenges in life, you can perhaps absorb them or recover from them, can overcome them. And in order to do that, there's so many different things that we can do to help ourselves. So we can try and have lots of friendships and relationships, people that we can talk to when times are hard. We can try and look after our health and exercise as best we can in the ways that we find fun,
And if we can get outside when we're doing it and we can spend time in our parks and with nature, that's been actually shown to make us more resilient as well.
But in terms of the importance of a community being able to be resilient and flexible when it's stressed, or be able to recover from a major incident occurring, then actually the kind of work we're doing with Wigan on the Move, both through the Deal for Communities investment angle, but also the work we're doing with local people themselves to develop their talents and get them and develop them as community leaders. That is all really important for a community to be able to respond and recover very quickly from whatever is thrown at it.
Wigan is a fantastic area. It's got many resources available to it. Its services are some of the most innovative that we have, and it's a great place to be if you want to try and become more healthy and to build your own individual resilience. It's really good news this year that we were successful in joining the 100 Resilient Cities programme. There were over 300 cities applied to be part of it from 80 countries, and Greater Manchester was successful in part because of the way that we all work together. So the way that Wigan works with all the other districts in Greater Manchester. And one of the great things it'll enable us to do is to work with private sector organisations, voluntary sector organisations and others from across the world, and to bring the services and ideas that they have to help our communities locally in Wigan.
The entire leisure offer for the community prioritises residents' well-being. Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles is the main partner in developing the facilities, services and programmes that are commissioned by the Director of Public Health.
There's a massive crossover between everything that we do at Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles and what public health is trying to do. I mean, we're very lucky in Wigan in terms of the leadership and public health that the council have taken.
Yeah. Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles is Wigan's chosen strategic leisure partner. So we run all of the leisure across the portfolio of Wigan, across the borough, leisure centres, parks, do lots of schemes, so we work very closely with Wigan to do just that.
We've been able to diversify the offer through significant investments. So places like Howard Bridge now have a climb and wall and escape park. Haywoodland Park now has high ropes and adventure golf and various other opportunities. That gives people a broader offer that will hopefully inspire people now and in the future to get involved in keeping themselves active through that service.
A recent investment in the park, we started with infrastructure, so car parking, footpaths, extra toilets, to make the park more inviting. And then the first thing we opened was the adventure play area, which is free and still is and extremely popular. We've worked hard on the kitchen courtyard and attracted local businesses in with their own investment in there as well. Then we opened last summer the high ropes, quickly followed later in the year with the adventure golf, and that created this area where we stood now, which is extremely popular. But we've not stopped there. Our next phase is to look at some of the heritage features. So we are putting together a major heritage lottery bid for the walled gardens, the pond and the zoo yard and the old greenhouse sites. Beyond that, there's even more work around the woodland management. There's 250 acres of footpaths and woodland management that needs drastic improvement in the long term. I think we're going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years working on hay. What hay is about is creating an arena and an environment for people to come and get active in the borough. It's use our green spaces. This is one we're so proud of, one that I think the residents of Wigan are so proud of and enjoy and have done for generations. What we want them to do is come and enjoy it again. More and more people here, because physical activity, as we all know, is so good for us in terms of our physical well-being. Obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all those sorts of things benefit from people being more physically active. We reduce all those issues. It's all about mental well-being as well though. Get out, enjoy, come out with a family, have a walk, have a run, cycle, enjoy some of the attractions here. That's what it's all about. Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles and the council are about inspiring people to be more physically active, because we all know it's good for us.
I think Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles, I think the clue's in the name, I think. I think it reflects precisely what we've commissioned them to do. And I think the last 12 to 18 months, I think they've made great strides in delivering services. But of course we've already had the development at Howe Bridge. One of the facilities that has now been upgraded is in Wigan Life Centre. They have now the fitness centre there, new equipment has been installed, very, very modern equipment.
I think keeping active is very, very important. Obviously health is a massive thing at the moment. A lot of my friends actually who I went to school with, kind of gave up sport after they finished school, and they'd often send me a message saying, oh, I wish I would have kept that up. But I think it's absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of initiatives, especially in the borough, back to sport, leading healthy lifestyles. And I think that message is out there now, and a lot of people are recognising the benefits of being fit and healthy and going back to sport and active living and, those healthy lifestyles.
Physical activity shows benefit on a number of scales. There are about 20 diseases which are treated or treatable by physical activity, or preventable even by using physical activity, such as type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, stroke disease, respiratory disease as well, in order to strengthen the pulmonary function of people.
The Active Outdoors programme is part of Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles. It incorporates running, walking and cycling. We have 3 coordinators that look after each of those areas. We have a volunteer team of 135 active volunteers that deliver the sessions on a day-to-day basis. We have approximately 90 sessions per week, attracting over 1,000 attendances. Feedback across the whole of the Active Outdoors programme is very positive. The number of people who start the programme who are completely inactive and then increase their weekly physical activity. I think the stats were about 75 to 80% of people who attend our programme within 6 months are more physically active as a result of attending our running, walking, cycling programmes.
Back to Sport is a public health funded programme. The idea of the programme is to get adults aged 16 plus back into activity, whether that be something they've played at school, something they previously had a go at, or whether it's something they just want to try for the very first time. We have a range of activities available, things like netball, rounders, basketball, badminton, and then some of the newer activities like walking netball and walking football.
Well, in the 18 months since I've been coming to walking football, my health has improved significantly. Cardiovascular health's improved, and I notice that in everyday life. If I go in walking, things that, if we were doing like a Lake District walk, things that I'd get out of breath on in the past, I'm like a spring chicken now, so it has made a big difference to me.
A whole series of well-being focused work, and sort of the key ones are perhaps the adult obesity scheme, which is Lose Weight, Feel Great, the childhood obesity scheme, Let's Get Moving, which has received national coverage and acclaim for its successes, things like GP referrals, that's getting people fit with a range of medical conditions where the doctors have prescribed that they come and work with us to improve their physical activity and reduce the issues that we all know that causes.
Well, so far as strength and balance was concerned for me, I was overweight. Over a period of probably 3 months, I dropped 19 pounds. I was aware then that I was getting fitter and more capable of controlling my weight and my balance and so on. Balance is very important when you get to my age. Well, I was given the option. My daughter said, we'll take you to Canada to do the Rocky Mountaineer if you get yourself fit enough to walk and so on. And that was the motivation, all the motivation I needed, really. And we successfully went last September. It was fabulous. Over that last 18 months, what was originally the motivation to go to Canada became an awareness that I was getting fitter. I walk almost every day now. I'm now 81. And I'm saying to myself, I'm so lucky, So this is the reason for keeping going, and the enthusiasm here is tremendous.
There's certainly musculoskeletal conditions which can be treated with physical activity, such as hip osteoarthritis or knee osteoarthritis, both of which have been shown to be improved by physical activity.
Wigan has one of the largest disability and inclusive programmes in terms of sport and physical activity. We offer something for all ages every day of the week. The Short Breaks programme also includes dance and cheerleading and Wheels for All, which is adapted cycling. Active Choices, we offer one-to-one support in the gym, in swimming and into various physical activity programmes. And with Get Out, Get Active, we do a lot of active recreation, adventure play, climbing and all different adventurous activities. Our community engagement programme and inclusive pathways also give provision for children that are within care settings and individuals that are in residential settings as well. We try to be as fully inclusive to everybody across the borough. We've seen improvements in mental health in a number of our participants accessing programmes. We use evaluation tools to monitor this before and after the intervention, and then this has seen a reduction in social isolation with people exercising for longer periods in group settings. We're in the 7th year of hosting the Greater Manchester Disability Games, and they're going to be held at Lee Sports Village this year, and we've got over 200 participants coming to take part in 5 sports.
Knowle Adventure Playground is a staffed play provision. We are a team of play workers that run the facility. We open 6 nights a week, and we're very much in the heart of the community. We're quite well respected within the community because of all the services and the play sessions that we provide. So National Play Day is an event that celebrates every child's right to play. We take part in this event every year. It's hosted by Play England, and it's now been running for 30 years.
One of the successes for me was a young lady who came to us with absolutely no confidence. She'd had issues attending school, she'd lost a parent due to obesity-related issues. And we worked with her over many months, and that young lady, apart from losing 2 stone in weight, has got massive improvement in confidence, and she's just now about to start arts college now. That's a result I'm extremely proud of, and something we'll see repeated many times across the borough.
The Sports Awards is absolutely a phenomenal event on our calendar. It's a real highlight of the year. It is incredibly important to celebrate success. We are very, very proud of the success that we've got in Wigan, but it also gives us the opportunity to raise those other messages about the importance of exercise, physical activity and mental health as well.
I absolutely am a fan of the Wigan Believe campaign. It's been fantastic to see all the signage all around the town, and I think it really gives the people of Wigan Borough that belief that Wigan Council are behind them, and that's always my message as a role model hopefully to people in the borough. If you do have that belief, if you do work hard, anybody can succeed.
Physical activity has absolutely moved to centre stage through the last 12 months, and I'm really proud that Wigan has been very much a major player in helping the development of both the Greater Manchester moving strategy, but also supporting the development of GM Active as a really vibrant partnerships.
Wellfest was launched in September 2016, at the same time as Getting Wigan Borough on the Move. Schools, community centres, churches and workplaces got involved in a programme of physical activities, access to health checks and awareness raising of services. Wellfest was so popular it was repeated during June and September 2017, spanning the summer period.
The NHS is one of the biggest employers for the local population, and that led us to develop a social responsibilities group in 2013. In 2014 we were fortunate enough to win a national award for this, and that led us to work with public health to see how we could spread further the message of health and well-being for the whole of the local community.
I think the benefits of running something like Wellfest was we had the first one last year, and it engaged lots of people around the borough in all kinds of different activities that were happening in all types of different places. And so it was hugely successful.
There are many initiatives within Wellfest. Some examples are a mass population walk, which we call the Mass Mile, an initiative where people can get public health checks and set up in various prominent sites around the borough, and getting people involved with Arts for Health or creative activities to get them involved with their local community and for the benefit of their own mental well-being.
We developed the daily miles so that children would have a period of exercise during the school day, and this has gone down really well across the majority of schools, and we do know that if children's physical well-being is good, their mental well-being is good, and they achieve more academically in schools.
The Daily Mile we've been doing for around a year. It came from the Health Champions newsletter, and we signed up for that, and we just started with little steps and we've progressed to doing it regularly. The children get medals or trophies or stopwatches to inspire them, and they really just do enjoy doing it.
We wanted it to be able to do it all year round, so we needed a track that we could do it on. And obviously the school's not got the kind of money to be spending thousands and thousands of pounds on something like that. So the school wrote out to a number of businesses around the area, and David Whelan obviously came up and said that he was interested in it, he wanted to promote what we were doing, and he wanted to give us the money for it.
With regards to the Early Years Foundation stage profile, it supports physical development, and with the boys in a predominantly boy class, it's been really advantageous because they are channeled into something and they achieve it and they're more settled in the rest of the afternoon session. So it's a win-win really all round.
It helps you with your maths, English, and you get faster each time, which makes you healthier.
Woodfield Daily Mail!
We do a daily toddle as well with our young children, and that also fits nicely with the Daily Mail that they do in schools. So our daily toddle, obviously with our children just being very little, can be singing, dancing, any sort of movement, and we normally go around the room, or if it's nice we can go outside on the field. During the first Wellfest we did a boot camp, and that has now developed into a beach body challenge. So our parents have actually been coming all summer to do a beach body challenge, at the end of which we are offering a trip to the beach, so a free beach trip for them and their families.
The residents of Dorset Road and the community volunteers there sort of embraced it fully, helping to cook meals, linking in with the schools, organising the activities. And some of the activities, such as the boot camps that the fire service were organising, that continues now, so extra funding was applied for and put in place so that the boot camps could actually carry on across there, and that's a bit of a legacy from work that's been going on over there. So it's a really good example of partnership working, the deal, and how communities can actually get together.
The benefits of getting children moving, getting families moving, sometimes they don't actually realise what they can do together to incorporate that movement. So just some sort of dancing and maybe some jumping, you know, it can make a big difference in just starting to getting people active.
And when you look at the audience, the TV audience figures for track cycling, you can see it's actually one of the most popular forms of cycle sport for the general public, but ironically it's the least accessible. So that's where the dream for Street Velodrome started really. It's to bring all that, the excitement, the drama and the theatre of track cycling out to the people, bring it into the community, and more importantly get everyone to have a go and get involved.
I enjoy everything about working with Street Velodrome, from the riding to the coaching. I think the riding brings out the competitive side, and everyone gets to see the professional riders and how they do it. In the coaching, I really enjoy as well, from people when they come on and they're nervous, and then you see them progress throughout when you're coaching them, and they come off smiling, and then they get that satisfaction within themselves that they've managed to achieve that.
Some specific examples of benefits from the Wellfest programme were for our staff members who had health checks, and in spite of working in the health sector had not been checked themselves, and following the sessions were found to have some issues that we could then treat and resolve.
So obviously the big theme this year is Wigan on the Move, and that's something that we as a hospital fully support, partly through the consultations between our clinicians and patients, which can always talk about a healthy lifestyle, but also by the example that we can set. So for example, we are all participating in several mass miles, including our trust board walking a mile, to demonstrate our commitment to healthy lifestyles.
And we'd all meet up, have a picnic, just have fun, and just, you know, enjoy, you know, the canal, the beauty, the green parts of Wigan and Lee, which a lot of people don't realise that is out there, and it's just great just walking along the canal. Beautiful nature, scenery, scenes, and there's a lot of history that you pick up on along the canal walks, and it's just been, you know, fantastic. absolutely, you know, for me, a well-being day.
I'd like to see it be a natural thing where people can access support in the community, because there's one lady just come in now and she's tried several times to give up smoking. She's just done the carbon monoxide test and she's high and she knows she needs to give up. But she said if somebody would support her, she'd be able to do it. But because she's come here, she's found that there are people who can support her, so she's more chance of doing it. And I know they can call it the doctors and the clinics, but a lot of people are afraid of them, they won't go, but somewhere neutral, they can come and access it.
Our main role really was to get the message out about the health checks that were being done on the estates, and there was a series of 5 health checks, and we were heavily involved in the promotion of that. And I think the results that came out of that were really good, that people were being sort of advised that they need to sort of take further action.
I think what's really encouraging and unique about Wellfest is the way that the public services have worked together to get the community involved in their own health and well-being. We're leading the way in this area, and I'm more than happy to share with other areas and get their communities involved in a similar way.
Wigan Council's investment in community-led initiatives frequently links to improving the health of its citizens and reducing social isolation. This can be done in innovative and sometimes unusual ways.
I really hope that the Wigan on the Move initiative can really encourage local communities to come together, to work together, to actually achieve something. I think applying for the funding gives people the opportunity to actually, you know, put on initiatives and different groups that they want to, and it can really make a real difference to people's lives within the borough.
Taking part in a team sport or walk and run and cycle, and it's about anything that is going to inspire a person who is currently inactive to think about getting up, getting out and getting involved in something that's going on in their local community.
Unless there's some kind of motivation to make people from doing nothing to something, it won't happen. There's got to be some proactive step to develop an idea that involves people doing things. So for instance, in all the sports clubs that we're involved with, my own Lee Minders Rangers Academy, the mums and dads and the coaches don't do it for health reasons, and if you wag your finger at them and say you must do this to remain healthy, they wouldn't accept it. But they play rugby in the right environment with the right values because they know it makes sense, and it makes sense from an antisocial behaviour point of view, but also from a health point of view. So you do need something, a hook, to take you out of doing nothing into doing something.
Think about what you do and how you can diversify that, how you can make it to be something completely different that's going to appeal to someone who may have an interest but doesn't necessarily associate it with being active. So an example we gave was there are people who may enjoy being involved in photography and art classes. So why not think about taking those sessions and building them into a walk, taking the art sessions and the photography sessions out into some green spaces, so you're bringing the two things together. So people are still doing the thing that they love and motivates and inspires them. But under the radar, we're also bringing in some physical activity as well.
I think Wigan on the Move is a great initiative around improving and extending physical activity and looking at different ways of providing physical activity. But for me, it's not just about physical activity. It's about connecting people. It's about connecting people within communities to do away with social isolation and loneliness.
The reason we set up as an environmental project is to move away from the stigma attached to people accessing food banks and soup kitchens. We're not a soup kitchen and we're not a food bank, we're an environmental project. The idea being that people coming here to eat are actually doing us a favour by stopping the food going in the bin. This project offers many opportunities apart from the food. It started off about the food, but it's become so much more than that now. We've got what we call our over 50s youth club, which came about because people were saying that there was nowhere to go to have a bit of fun where alcohol wasn't involved. So people can come in, have a game of darts, a game of pool, game of table tennis, and they don't feel the need that they have to buy a pint. They can have a cup of tea and a bit of lunch and then just have some social time. That's massively important for people's mental health. We do walks as well, so we've got the Wellfest walk that leaves from here and we call it Walking Up an Appetite, so people have a walk and then come back for their dinner. And there's a gym on site. Any of our volunteers are entitled to free membership of that gym. Our plans for the future are to ensure that everybody in the borough has access to wasted edible food, some way or another, through a food boutique or a cafe, and also to try and make Wigan the first commercial food waste free borough in the country.
Wigan on the Move is not just about physical activity, it's about improving the environment and the culture and the way communities connect with each other and people connect with them. So it's about a whole different approach, and it's about the public sector enabling and facilitating people to do that rather than directly providing it for them.
The Straw Bale is a community cafe. It was made possible by obtaining a grant from Public Health England. Wigan Council approached Action and we said, could we work in partnership with Green Slate Farm to build it and then to man it as well.
The last year has been epic. It's probably the best word to use, because it's just been so dynamic. There's been so much going on. Obviously the build has just taken off immensely. We started off with just simple foundations, and all of a sudden we have got an amazing new resource right in front of us that is open to the public.
I work for Action, which is part of Wigan and Leave Recovery Partnership. We've changed our way of working completely with regards to, directly because of the deal. The deal enables people to take chances, to do things a little bit different, to think outside of the box. For example, the Straw Bale is just one of these. We're working in, Action is working in over 26 venues over Wigan and Leigh currently. And each one of these venues gives us something different, from a churchyard to a doctor's surgery and to a farm. I think it's fantastic how things have changed.
Part of the Straw Bale Build's aims is obviously to try and keep people active. One of the ways that we do that is obviously through healthy eating, healthy lifestyles. So again, we're taking all of our fresh, organically grown produce straight from the field and then bringing it straight into the cafe, so people have got that healthy alternative. But also it's about trying to get people down on site so they can utilise the actual bigger area of the farm. Obviously that involves a lot of walking, being active, enjoying the great outdoors, but also connecting a lot more with the outdoor environment.
I got involved originally through Action Green Slate Farm as a recovering alcoholic with PTSD, anxiety symptoms. I was very isolated. I wouldn't mix with people, and so coming here has just sort of brought me out of my shell. I come here 3, maybe 4 days a week, both working solo if I feel the need, and then obviously I go in with crowds and dip in and dip out as I see fit. But coming here, it's given me, it's created confidence to actually deal with people. I mean, there was, before that, there was quite a while where I wouldn't live in a house. I was living in hotel rooms and stuff like that. So it's made me, it's foundationed me and given me a life, given me purpose, and also helped me find work.
This chap in his mid-60s, he had to use 2 crutches to walk. As he used these crutches, he said, I won't start digging on this field, I won't join in with everybody. My first thing was, you can't do that, it's not safe. But using the deal's principles, I said, well, go on then, we're here, we'll catch you. And he was joking about with him, and he started to dig with a fork. He did that, then he went into the classroom, had a cup of coffee. When it came to him going back, he shouts, Wayne, where's my crutches? I said, well, I don't know where you left them. He said, doing field. I said, well, who have you got here? He said, I've walked it. Directly responsible for that. Whilst I'm not going saying as though we've cured someone and we've done miracles, we allowed someone to go and see he could actually manage without his 2 crutches. What he has done since then, he just uses 1, and he only uses that when he needs to. But that is a direct result of the deal.
One of our big success stories this year has been one of our learners who came to us initially being very lacking in confidence. He's worked with us through the Care Farm programme, and he is now going to be working in the cafe at the Straw Bale, and he will be working towards an apprenticeship so that he can live more independently.
The Bowl and Plate project has got so many different elements to it. It runs from 11 till 2 every Friday. 11 o'clock, people can use the bowling greens for Crown Green bowling tuition, getting a lot of exercise, which is improving people's minds as well as their health. They can also have a social chat over a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and play board games, play cards, play dominoes, do a quiz, read papers. It's just a great community feel about the project. A majority of the food is intercepted from wholesalers, so it's stopping it going to landfill, and we're producing nutritious meals for the community. Again, which is the feedback is that the food is fantastic. I've become so passionate about this project from the start because I have a life experience of what this project, the people that we're reaching, is about. Sadly, I lost my wife a couple of years ago, and I've been through the dark days and sat on the settee, not wanting to go out in my own space, seeing the same four walls, depressed. But I'm so pleased to say that this project has given me a kickstart in life again, given me my mojo back. And I'm loving seeing the sort of people that are coming to this project every week, widowed people, people who are isolated, people with mental health issues, people who need 24/7 care. We're making a difference to people's lives, and I'm so proud to say that that is happening every week. And the warming feeling of one particular lady who's told me that since she started the bowling tuition, she doesn't need to use a walking stick at home anymore. And for me to hear that is just an amazing feeling.
Yeah, here at Pianos, Pies and Pirouettes, we are of course at Wigan Warriors training ground here in Wigan. We set up a dance facility with the under-19s to encourage people to do something a bit fitter and a bit healthier, but in a slightly different way. Well, we'd like to spread what we do over lots and lots of different sports, because one of the main things that ballet does for sportsmen, of course, is it increases the balance. And balance is something that's vital to any kind of sport.
In terms of that, it's great in terms of injury prevention and pre-ab and rehab, like we're doing it today after coming off the back of a game yesterday. So it just helps us in the muscle areas, like strengthening muscle areas that we wouldn't normally get to focus on with our types of training, with strength and conditioning, that sort of stuff. So it just targets the other areas like a wider range of muscles and stuff, but also helps focus on ankles, knees, a great core strength as well, building the strength up there.
Many of us at the Warblers have a condition called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD as it's shortened to. Means that we have difficulties breathing. We get lots of dirty air with COPD, and we need to get rid of that dirty air to be able to get the good air in. And the singing with somebody like Natasha, the singing leader here, that helps us to breathe a lot better.
There is a common condition that quite a number of patients in Wigan have, secondary to the previous mining industry that we had around the area, and secondary to quite a high level of smoking that we have had around the area. It's called chronic obstructive airways disease, and it is known that that disease is particularly helped by physiotherapy. Physiotherapy helps strengthen the lung muscles, helps strengthen the diaphragm, and certainly things like singing and choir practice and things have been shown to actually improve the respiratory function of patients suffering from chronic obstructive airways disease.
Wigan Warblers have been going about 18 months or so now, and I've been coming from the beginning. At the start, one of my measures was 29% lung capacity. I was referred for a lung transplant assessment. Last December, this December just gone, I was reassessed again, and my lung capacity has gone to 45%. So it's made a huge difference how I control my breathing. I think for me the most important thing about the Warblers is the fact that I'm not isolated anymore. I never went anywhere, I never did anything, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't walk 20 metres without being out of breath. Wigan Warblers has given me a life again, friendship, company and support.
Well, the benefits for our members are the pure joy of singing, realising they still can sing, and the joy of singing in harmony together and believing that it's them actually singing this beautiful and making this beautiful sound. And for us, that really is reciprocated in that dynamic that the choir have got, because there's a real joy for the music.
I think everyone gets a real buzz out of it, and you notice people kind of springing down the corridor and singing CCC or whatever. and the songs do tend to stick in your head, so sometimes you get these kind of brain worms. But I think generally it's just a really great mood lifter, and if you've had like a difficult morning, it's just a nice way to kind of get a break and you go back refreshed. You know, it's a good way to clean your mind out.
Dance Syndrome is led and organised by people with learning disabilities who have a passion for dance and who refuse to be defined by disability.
I enjoy coming to the dance group. I'm meeting new people. I like mixing, dancing with people. I like helping.
Dance is a really fantastic way for people to get fit and to improve their health and well-being. It's also fantastic for balance, for coordination, for memory, because there's lots of repetition in dance, but it's such good fun that it's great for people's physical and mental health.
We're doing different types of dance, so it's good.
One of our dance leaders, Jonathan, who happens to have Down syndrome and refuses to be defined by it, performs and leads every week at the Rose Club. And he's just a fantastic example for everybody to be able to say, well, you know what, if Jonathan can do this, so can I. So Jonathan is also part of the performance company for Dance Syndrome, and this year, for the first time, they'll be performing their dance and choreography at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So it's really exciting, and it's fantastic for people to be such visible role models in society.
Well, I think this qualifies. We work with a group called Fallen Angels, which is about people with all sorts of addictions, learning the joy of dance and movement, and that's being done now on a regular basis across at the Turnpike, which we took over a couple of years ago. And that's going great guns, and that's people who you wouldn't normally associate with dance or movement, finding a new joy and giving them a reason to stay off these substances and to put their energies into something which is really worthwhile.
I was diagnosed with Asperger's in November last year, and I heard of this Fallen Angels group, which is a creative outlet for people suffering mental health issues and in recovery from addiction. And I've always had that creative side, so I thought I'd give it a go. So I did, and it's become a real special interest for me. And it's not just the physical release and that creative expression, it's connecting with other people. And I know that it really taps into our connection as a group. You know, we really move together and we get to know each other at a profound level than we wouldn't happen otherwise. So I'm eternally grateful for it, really. Being able to express yourself through movement really gives you a chance to live in your strengths and not in your weaknesses.
Well, Men's Sheds is actually based on an Australian idea, which was designed to engage men over 40 with depression, to get them involved working in sheds, doing different projects, usually handmade goods. What we've done in Platt Bridge is to try and incorporate an intergenerational aspect to that. So at the moment we're looking at men over 40 working with young lads and girls doing a different project. The young people get a lot of this, a lot of experience working with older people. They learn practical skills, they learn how to communicate as well. The older generation, I think, benefit because they're working with young people who know much more about technology, such as the 3D printers, which were incorporated into the project. So it's about sharing skills and sharing knowledge. A lot of the young people we work with are looking for role models in the older generation, and I think they get that. And I think that a lot of the older generation are looking for to share their knowledge with the young people. So it works very, very well.
I think Wigan really deserves the Dementia Friendly Town of the Year award because of all the work that it's done over the last few years with dementia friendly communities. I mean, what's available for people with dementia and their carers in Wigan is vastly different to what's available in a lot of other places. We have 5 dementia cafes in the Wigan Borough, run by the Alzheimer's Society. We get on average between 20 and 30 people at each of the cafes, and we've built those up over the last 4 years. I think our clients would tell us that they're very successful and they're very important for them in their lives.
The afternoon tea parties do give people something to look forward to once a month. They know it's always on the second Monday of each month. There are regulars, so they see each other each month.
and I think the carers, the family members look forward to it, because obviously although they do stay with the person affected, they enjoy it as well, and they enjoy the quiz and the games.
Music in Mind's mission is to help those living with dementia, motivating them, stimulating them via music, familiar songs, percussion instruments, dance occasionally too. As we know, dementia can sort of be a very isolating feeling for those who are living with it. But when you're actually singing as part of a group, it has a very connecting and very powerful sort of effect on people. It can be very uplifting, very encouraging. It can make people feel that little bit happy, and we're quite passionate about that.
The recent celebration event, brought people together, people with dementia and their carers and others and organisations, all united together, against dementia, and trying to, build that fun and vibrant atmosphere. And it was a great celebration event, in that respect, for people getting involved and taking the stigma away from dementia.
There's always somebody who I wouldn't think I'd associate with when I first sat down, but you get on with anybody what sits on your table you get on with.
Yeah, and they've been really supportive, and the people who are there, they have people from different organisations going and telling you what help you can get. And it's been really good, and now you actually look forward to every other Tuesday.
I usually ask, don't I?
Sometimes you ask on the wrong Tuesday, but but yeah, you do. You look forward to going. Yeah, and the dementia friendly cafes are fantastic.
In terms of public health, I think what we're doing is enabling and facilitating people and communities to work together by connecting them with the public sector, and so that actually we're not providing things into an area, but we're actually working with the local community to develop sustainable and real improvements.
But I would like to report that all but one of the recommendations from last year have either been fully implemented or have made significant progress in terms of the implementation. All the recommendations were accepted by all partners, which is a fantastic achievement. The implementation of the recommendations have been reflected in our improved population health outcomes for this year. Our smoking rates in the general population have come down to 17.7%, which for the second year running is within the England average range. This is really good news for Wigan. Also, our routine and manual class smoking at 26.5% is at the England average range, again for the second year running, and is the lowest routine and manual class smoking rate in the whole of Greater Manchester. So that's really, really good news for Wigan. And I would be remiss if I didn't report on the fantastic progress we've made on maternal smoking, which was more stubborn in terms of smoking at time of delivery. So it was stubbornly maintaining at 16%. We've now reduced it to 14%. 2% in 12 months is a phenomenal achievement. And I'd like to thank particularly our midwives and the whole of our maternity services, and Jen Kelly, who is the lead for tobacco control in the council, for the excellent work on smoking prevalence. This is really good news for our children's health, our adults' health, and of course the whole of the community. Well done, Wigan, on smoking. We've also seen a significant drop in alcohol harm related admissions over the last 12 months. So that's really good news, and we're closing the gap with England very rapidly on that. And other really good news is on our IM and VAC rates. All of our IM and VAC rates for children meet with the 95% target that we set for what's called herd immunity in England. So well done to all of the IM and VAC teams and the leadership of Chris Sweeney and colleagues in health protection and civil contingencies who support our teams in primary care, our midwives and others who deliver vaccination programmes in the borough. Well done indeed. So some very good public health stats. I've already reported on the physical activity work in terms of the raising physically active adults between last year and this year of 5%, again putting us in the England average range. We were very significantly below that a couple of years ago, so all of the work we're doing through Wigan on the Move and all of the work that Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles are doing in terms of the redesign of the leisure offer is starting to pay real dividends. So from last year to this year, there's progress. Wigan is getting healthier. That doesn't mean to say we don't have some challenges, particularly around things like children's school readiness, which still retains a real issue for parts of the borough. We still need to really focus on a big area around dementia and dementia risk. So the introduction of vascular dementia risk screening into our NHS health checks is going to be a big bonus for us there, and we will be monitoring that very closely. We need to improve our mental health and resilience in the community over the coming year, and another major challenge for us is, I think, to look at the improvement in terms of healthy homes. We have recently brought housing provision back into the council and housing policy, so a major priority for me for the next 12 months will be looking at how we can maximise the potential of that opportunity to really get a solid healthy homes and healthy planning policy across the borough. Our 23,000 most vulnerable households are our tenants, so that they are part of the offer that the housing provision brings back into the council. So I will really be focusing on that in terms of my report recommendations this year, but also linking that to the broader development of the Healthier Wigan Partnership and the recognition that leisure, housing are absolutely key components of integrating well-being, health and social care in the borough. My recommendations for this year, for 2017, to really take forward Wigan on the Move, include the following. I'm really going to focus on the integration of public health beyond adults and children's services, where the integration has gone incredibly well over the last 3 years, but to really focus on planning, housing, employment, economy and skills. So broadening the range of capacity and capability across the council around the public health offer, and really focus particularly on the Healthy Homes programme. My second recommendation is to develop an age-friendly Wigan strategy and action plan to support the GM Ageing Hub priorities. We will work closely with the GM programme areas to influence and achieve best value for Wigan, particularly working on suicide prevention. We will align programmes and activity to the Healthier Wigan Partnership developments. This is absolutely critical for embedding well-being within our integrated care organisation. We will further develop the work with the Integrated Care Service to embed the sustainable rehabilitation potential of Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles. This will be particularly in relation to cardiac and respiratory management and recovery. We will continue to develop Heart of Wigan to move further and faster by taking maximum advantage of activity that can positively impact on health. This includes further rollout of Heart Champion training and CPR defibrillator expansion. We will upskill workforce across public health interventions in mental health to promote parity of esteem and support early intervention and recovery. This includes the development and rollout of mental health champions with Wigan Council staff and community members. We will be working with the local optometry committee to develop Wigan's first Healthy Living optometry programme, and further expand our work with pharmacy and dentistry on healthy living programmes that are already in place, particularly in the dentistry programme, to focus on the launch of the Daily Smile initiative during Wigan Wellfest Week 2. We will accelerate the work with the Greater Manchester Cancer Vanguard to expand the existing Cancer Champion programme in Wigan and link that back into the work of Wigan on the Move and the Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles. We recognise that physical activity is both important as a prevention measure for cancer, an early identification measure for cancer through the training of Inspiring Healthy Lifestyle staff as cancer champions, but also is important in cancer recovery. And finally, to build on our recent successes in improving the health of the population of the borough, we will seek to promote a culture of continual evaluation and improvement of public health functions, services, work streams and activity. This will include actively seeking and involving the residents that we serve in the evaluation of our performance.